All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host for today's broadcast, Insanely Year 13, as we are preparing to get underway here for our 8th race of our 12-race season here for IESC GT3, as we're prepared to get underway at Spain's premier circuit de Catalunya, one of my personal favorite racetracks in the entire continent of Europe. I absolutely love this circuit. But here's the thing, this is a very tight circuit, it's a very quick circuit as well. Not quick in speed, but quick in the amount of time you complete a lap here. Real quickly, look at the times for everyone who's after the end of qualifying. But at the top, it looked like it was going to be Scored Buffalo and RZX walking off with a 1-2 at the top of the field. But at the last possible moment, it ended up being LuckyVII, who stole pole position, a 146.498, Scored Buffalo a 146.625. So that could end up being very, very interesting. RZX U5AMVP set at 146.769 is his best lap, so he has a very, very legitimate shot at getting a podium, if not higher, in today's event. Other things to take note of is that not a whole lot of drivers are in the 47s. You do have Mr. Sunshine in the Porsche with the 47.488 and TNR Horizon with the Ascent 47.764. But a lot of drivers in the 48 and 49 range. Also of note, 3 different drivers said that they were going to attempt the challenge to run pre-built tunes, which are basically stock tunes just with an adjustment made on 6th gear to make sure the cars don't top out. The drivers who will be doing that challenge will be Rockmorrow, GRM Jagged, and Prius Killer. All 3 of those drivers are all going for different things. For Jagged and Rockmorrow, they're actually relatively close to each other in championship points. They're going to be fighting with each other. For Prius Killer, Prius is in a situation where he did not have a good run last week, but having even a decent run, barely making the top 10 today, could be great because they are running the number 4 challenge, which is known as Fresh from the Factory. The tune you're given is not optimized in any way. It is basically the stock tune that the game gives you. The only exception, again, 6th gear gets lengthened out a bit just to make sure that you never have to worry about the car topping out on any of the straights. So with that in mind, for those 3 drivers, we're anticipating all 3 of them will be at or near the back of the field, but the better they finish, they are going to get a gigantic advantage in the points today. The other thing to keep an eye on, again, another pole position for LuckyVII. Lucky is coming off the back of 2 straight victories. One of them, he had the pole that got him that victory. That was at Suzuka. And here at Catalunya, it's another circuit that overtaking is very difficult at. I'll be very interested to see what can or can't happen. I'm going to back out, then reload back into the multiplayer, so hopefully the cars properly load on the circuit and I can actually see it. There we are, now we can actually see the cars. That's better, thank you. So we're looking at a 15 car field, 14 drivers took to qualifying. I can't remember right now who it is that missed out on qualifying. MabeyRacing, who has showed up for every race thus far this season, it is more likely that he is going to miss today's race. That's going to significantly hurt Mabey's championship runs. Again, Mabey was looking at what may have potentially been a top 5 in Drivers' Championship points. But speaking of points, real quickly, we're going to go ahead and look at the championship standings as they are right now after last week's race at Silverstone. So, from the bottom to the top, you have last place is Tire Barrier, 33rd with 42.5 points. 32nd is Boiled Bird 88 with 80 points. 31st is Download Prime 77 with 95 points. 38th is Porsche FL with 100. 29th is Smat Pack with 110 points. 28th is Coco Gamer 11 with 120 points. 27th is Flag 4199 with 127.5 points. 26th is RZM Sean with 170. 25th is RZM Valkyrie with 180. 24th is Tactical Fallout with 185. 23rd is SRD Shredder with 195 points. 22nd is DMS Aspect with 210. 21st is LMP Grids with 230. 20th is TMS Bum Drop, he has 305 points. 19th is Larry B. the G with 325. 18th is RZM Arsenal, he has 330 points. 17th is TNR Bryant with 340. 16th is Rockmorrow with 355. 15th is Mexican Badass, he has 375 points. Then you have a big jump 14th is TTJ111. He has 485 points. 13th is RZM Brett. He's got 500 points. 12th is GRM Jagged with 555 points. 11th is NFL Racer 4812 with 595 points. 10th is TFB Matter with 625 points. 9th is RZX U5AMVP. He has 725 points. 8th is Lud1cr0us Speed with 770 points. 7th is MabeyRacing with 830 points. 6th is Killer8110 with 835 points. 5th is SRD Shredder with 910 points. 4th is TNR Horizon with 945. 3rd is Mr. Sunshine with 1025 points. 2nd is LuckyVII with 1160 or 1,160 points. And your current championship leader is scored Buffalo31. He has 1,249 points on the day right now. Just staying by right now, waiting to get underway here. All right, so not everyone's readied up quite yet here. But again, 3 different drivers going for the challenge when it comes to just the points that they can earn, getting bonus points, an extra 50% added on to their points total. That could be really interesting, so I'll be making sure to keep an eye on those 3 drivers. Again, those drivers that we are keeping an eye on, these are not fighting for the championship. They're all fighting for their own, for the overall drivers' championship. They're all fighting for their own little position in the points standings. Those 3 drivers are, let's make sure I don't miss up. It is Prius Killer, NFL Racer, and GRM Jagged. So NFL Racer trying to get into the top 10 in points. Prius Killer trying to stay in the top 10 in points. And GRM Jagged is also trying to close into the top 10 in points as well. So again, those will be a very interesting trio to watch in today's event. They are starting overall. Tire Barrier is starting dead last. GRM Jagged is starting 3rd to last. Prius Killer actually is going to be starting, I believe, in 8th position. So a unexpectedly solid qualifying run from Prius. No one else is doing challenges in today's event. It's just these 3. So we will keep an eye on them. But again, this will be a very interesting trio to keep an eye on throughout today's event. Big Fane at the front of the field, at the very top of the championship fray. Scored Buffalo, missing out on pole position. He's going to be starting on the front row still, but he's going to be starting on the outside and diving into a 90-degree corner. Lucky's going to be on his inside and will likely have the advantage. Scored needs to do everything he can to at least hold on to 2nd place and hope he can leapfrog Lucky. This circuit is very hard to make overtakes happen at. And in addition, that Bentley has a better top speed than Buffalo's GT car. Another driver to keep an eye on is going to be SRD Shredder. Shredder saying that he is looking at a scenario where he will have to stop twice in today's event. He is expecting to have to stop at lap 18 and lap 36. So that could have a very, very disastrous effect for him today. He needs some sort of yellow flag to try and bunch the field up and negate that potentially mandated 2nd stop. Shredder had a really, really good run earlier in the season, but everything's kind of fallen apart since the BOP. His car was not affected by the BOP, but every circuit that's come afterwards has really harmed his vehicle's ability to make use. How do I want to put it? It's really harmed his ability to preserve his tires. Shredder is typically known for being incredibly fast, but at the cost of destroying his tires. And it's really harmed him recently, and he's actually starting to drop rapidly in the championship point standings. There's also the fight for 3rd in championship points. Mr. Sunshine has basically been 3rd in the championship points for nearly the entire season. But now TNR Horizon is starting to close in on it. All right, here we are, 15 drivers. So we finally get to load onto the circuit here. at Circuit de Catalunya. I believe we have 5 different manufacturers in the top 5 positions, actually. I did not notice that, but yeah, I think we are looking at a scenario where there are 5 different manufacturers in the top 5 positions. Yeah, I believe our top 5 cars are all different. And then here is TNR Horizon. He is 6th, and he is in the... He's in the Aston. Lucky at the front, he's in the Bentley. So we have a Bentley, BMW, Chevrolet, Sunshine's in the Porsche, Brett's in the Lambo, Horizon is in the Aston. So yeah, our top 6 cars are all different machines. That Bentley of Prius Killer is the highest repeat car. So 6 different cars in the top 6 positions here. And again, Prius is doing that challenge. I might be wrong. There may be a driver has to come up and take a position back. Where's Lud1cr0us supposed to be? Because if Lud1cr0us is supposed to start in the top 6, then I would be wrong. No, it looks like Lud1cr0us is starting 7th. So yeah, we have 6 different cars in the top 6 positions. But again, keep an eye on Prius Killer, who's going to be starting 8th. Keep an eye on Tire Barrier, who'll be starting 15th, and GRM Jagged, who'll be starting 13th. Those 3 drivers all going for a massive amount of extra points. And then when it comes to the overall Drivers' Championship, you have a situation where Lucky needs to continue to win over Scored Buffalo. We did some math. If Lucky wins every race for the rest of the season, Buffalo can only come home 2nd. Lucky will win the championship, but Lucky has to win every race in the season at the rate it's been going for that to happen. And then Sunshine and Horizon are in another little fight between themselves as well. Sunshine needs to do everything he can to try and stay ahead just so he can hold on to 3rd. All right, they come out of the final chicane right now, and the field will start doubling up. Lucky inside, Buffalo outside. Buffalo needs to minimize mistakes so it can really go hard against Lucky as the field comes down to the line. The green flag will fly here at Circuit de Catalunya, and immediately it is a runaway from Lucky, but Buffalo does not seem to be too weak. He's got a really good run as well. They are 3 wide for position behind, and look at Lud1cr0us. He's going to shoot up the inside and will make it side by side for the 3rd position. And 1st and 2nd, they are right on top of it. There's a very active fight here for the front. RZX will get 3rd back ahead from Lud1cr0us speed. But our leaders, Lucky and Buffalo, have absolutely gapped the field immediately. So Buffalo, no risk of losing positions on the first lap here. All right, and now just behind, RZX is now trying to keep TNR Horizon behind him. The Lamborghini's already gotten by the Porsche. Sunshine gives Brett a little bit of a push there. This is bad news for Sunshine because Horizon is ahead of him, and he needs to get ahead of Horizon if he wants to maintain 3rd in the Drivers' Championship here. Coming uphill now. RZX is starting to pull away from the rest of the field at the moment. An NFL racer, one of those drivers who have fallen all the way back to 13th position, back there with SRD Shredder, GRM Jagged. This is an absolute mess back here. TFB Matter is in the mix. This is a horrible camera. Why would you ever use this? Prius is completely sideways under braking. NFL racer hits inside, and Lud1cr0us speed, who had that great run going into turn 1. It's all falling apart from him. I did not notice, but Lud1cr0us has fallen to 14th back there with Rockmorrow. Horrible scenario for those drivers. But at the front, it is LuckyVII with Scored Buffalo just behind. And then U5, who is in 3rd position. We've seen U5 be in position and fight for podium spots before. He'd love to back that up with another podium run today. It's going to take my headset off, but you can still hear me. All right, so the field makes their way up through turn 1, 2, and now through turn 3. Chevrolet is anticipated to have its strongest sector of the track in the entirety of Sector 1. Just an incredible grip, mechanical grip focused part of the circuit. And the Chevrolet, having gotten wider tires a few weeks ago, they are believed to have the best mechanical grip of everyone in the field. Lud1cr0us has already made his way back up into 13th at this stage of the race. But Lucky is your leader and has set the best lap of the race thus far. TNR Horizon keeps RZM Brett and Mr. Sunshine behind. Mr. Sunshine is right there behind Brett, really putting pressure on him. And Mexican Badass is running a very respectable 7th position right now. Tire barrier is 8th, the highest of those 3 drivers who are doing the specialized no-tune challenge setups, and he's doing this in the Lamborghini. This is not a circuit that favors the Lamborghini at all. Lamborghini is believed to be a horsepower and straight line speed monster. There's really only one true straightaway here that you can really take advantage of it. There is the other back straightaway. We see that back straightaway being used for like DRS and Formula 1 and stuff, but for these slower GT3 cars, there's not really a lot to get from it. But Tire is making it work right now. Early in the day, he is running in 8th, although SRD Shredder is behind, looking to try and make something happen. And at the front, scored Buffalo. He needed to make sure he didn't have a bad start. And oh, RZX has gone off farther back. RZX has missed the braking zone in turn 1. He stays in 3rd position, but now falls more than 2.5 seconds behind our leaders. And that little gaggle of cars, 4th, 5th, and 6th, are all now starting to close on him. Look at this. Buffalo did not choke this start at all. He had probably his best start this entire season. And Lucky is now going to have to hold scored behind this entire time. And the other thing to consider is going to be in and out laps. You are mandated to take at least 1 pit stop in the race. And if it comes down that these two are pitting on different laps, the in and out lap crossover point could be what Buffalo needs to get by. Because just even in the really short runs between corners, you can see that Bentley has a significant straight line speed advantage. Buffalo's advantage is in the corners. If that Bentley makes a mistake in the corner, I have no doubt that Buffalo is going to blitz right by him without too much issue. They're side by side there, coming out of the backstretch corner, but can't really make anything of it. But my goodness, the fight for a lead is heated up right away at the start. This is an inverse of what we saw at Catalunya. At Silverstone, granted, the rain was a big element of it, but at Silverstone, Buffalo just had no pace compared to Lucky until the track was completely bone dry, and that only happened in the last 5 laps. Here, it's just the opposite. Buffalo is absolutely hounding Lucky around the circuit here. The gap has been staying within about 1/4 of a second to 1/2 a second, basically from the drop of the green flag. And it's not helping. Oh, and Buffalo locked up, and Buffalo has turned Lucky. Buffalo turned Lucky. He's going to back off, and he will let Lucky keep going. But this could be bad news for both of these drivers because now U5 is right there in the fray. This has changed everything. This also really tells Lucky that Buffalo is not going to be playing super kind. Yes, Buffalo stopped. He let Lucky get the position back. But this could really get into Lucky's head and rattle his cage mentally. And now the entire field right on top of each other in the top 5 positions pretty much. RZX goes for a dive to try and close in on our 2 leaders. They come out of the corner. This is a bit more of an acceleration focused section here. Buffalo, incredibly good under braking, incredibly good through corners. Lucky, great in the straights. The other thing I consider is that we've known from the way that the entire season has gone that Buffalo can take his tires way, way farther than what Lucky can. So Buffalo has a lot more to play when it comes to pit strategy compared to Lucky. Farther back, GRM Jagged has just gotten by Rockmorrow for 13th position. Again, those 2 drivers are fighting for points, 4th, 5th, and 6th, all on top of it. But this fight for a lead has not calmed down at all. Real quick, you can see Horizon, Brett, Sunshine all on top of each other. Brett gets pushed by Sunshine a bit wide. Sunshine's going to move by. Sunshine's going to put his Porsche ahead of the Lamborghini. We still have 6 different cars in the top 6 positions. There are no repeat cars in the top 6 spaces on the track, and Tire Barrier, who is doing that challenge of not running a tune, is still running 8th. Incredible what he is doing right now. At the front, Lucky continues to lead over Scored Buffalo. This has been the fight for the championship all season long, pretty much, since the end of race 3. Lucky holds over Buffalo through 1 and 2, but that straightaway, while it really helps Lucky, the corner does not. Buffalo's gotten to the inside of Lucky. I don't know if there's anything he'll be able to do to fight back. Lucky should be able to outrun Buffalo into the corner. No, Buffalo is still there. Buffalo is still on the inside. Lucky is trapped on the outside. This could be horrible news. He needs to outrun Buffalo into the next corner. Side by side as they come into turn 5. Lucky has the car on the inside. They continue to run side by side. Now it's the acceleration out. It's a bit of a straight line stretch. Lucky will have the quicker line to the next corner. He will hold the position over Scored Buffalo, but he's a little bit sideways, and RZX is right there as well, watching these drivers fight. I think Lucky may have been a little bit mentally unsettled from what Scored did there, and I think that's going to be the big thing that will change everything. Buffalo all over and literally pushing Lucky through that high-speed corner right before the back straightaway. Lucky looking to take defensive lines and will actually compromise that car's straight line speed advantage and let Buffalo close right back in the braking zone. This is it. Lucky seems to be at his mental breaking point, and we're just barely a 10th of the way through this race. And RZX is right there watching this entire time. If these two have another mistake, if Buffalo gets into Lucky, turns them, and they both hold up again, RZX can shoot right through and move ahead. Again, those two drivers at the front, Scored and Lucky, they have been the only drivers to win races this season. But if something was to happen, he could be in position to make something happen. RZX, while he's not at the same level, he's only separated by a few tenths, about 2/10 of a second a lap in pace compared to these two. Everyone else is closer to a half second to multiple seconds behind per lap compared to these two. NFL Racer gets by SRD Shredder, so NFL Racer is now moving up. Shredder has fallen back through the grid. Has he made a pit stop? Yes, Shredder is making his first pit stop early, so SRD Shredder has already committed to doing a 2-stop strategy. And bad news for Shredder is that this basically guarantees that he will not factor in to this race. He is going to be basically a pit stop behind everyone throughout the day today. My goodness, you can just watch as we're right on board with RZX, and you can see Scored Buffalo absolutely hounding and annoying Lucky through every corner here. These aren't short races. We're looking at an event that's going to be about an hour and 15 minutes long if we go green flag to flag. Is Lucky going to have the mental stability and fortitude to do this? Every time before that we have seen these two drivers fighting early in the event, it's typically been Scored who gets by at around lap 10, lap 11. Silverstone was the exception because Buffalo's car was just not set up at all for wet weather conditions. Oh my goodness, they're all on top of each other. And one of the issues that Lucky is going to be dealing with is that Scored is being very aggressive with his front bumper. If Scored's front bumper is pushing Lucky out of the corners enough that Lucky doesn't have the ideal line coming onto the straight, it can potentially negate some of Lucky's straight line speed advantage because he'll have to do more micro adjustments coming onto the straight. Again, we see he opens up the gap with no problem in a straight line, but under braking, look how much that BMW closes. It's like, oh my goodness. And if Lucky makes a mistake in any of these corners, like in this corner here where he may have made a mistake because Buffalo's gotten to his inside, they're side by side again, but Scored is going to pull out this time, won't carry it side by side through the entire corner. That battle for 4th, 5th, and 6th has fallen off. So it's just these two, and then RZX runs just within visual sight line of this duo, but he's not able to do anything. Scored looks to the inside in turn 5, but there's not enough room, and he actually has to back out mid-corner so they don't get into it. And here's one thing, the only thing that's in Lucky's favor right now is that RZX is right there. Buffalo needs to be a little bit cautious because RZX could get by Buffalo if Buffalo makes a mistake trying to go against Lucky. But that's a two-edged sword as well, because if both of our leaders have an instant, it will be RZX who goes to the top. And again, Lucky calculates that he needs to win every race for the rest of the season. Horizon, who is 4th in the championship, runs 4th on the racetrack right now. That thing looks a little bit devilish. And Mr. Sunshine, who is 3rd in the title, needs to get by Horizon somehow, but is struggling to figure out a way to do so. 6th is Brett, 7th is Mexican Badass, 8th is Lud1cr0us Speed, who is recovering from that lap 1 instance and tire barrier. He is 9th, but Prius Killer is now on his inside. Both of these drivers running those spec tunes, and Tire, it seems like now that everyone's kind of following their rhythm, Tire's finding that his rhythm just isn't very good. Prius is 9th, Tire is 10th, NFL Racer is 11th. Those are your 3 drivers going for stock tuning challenges, and right now Prius is the one with the biggest advantage out of them. At the front, still nose to tail, but I can see Lucky drifting wide. I can see him getting a little bit sideways and a little bit wide in some of these corners. Oh, Buffalo lunged under braking that time. Uphill once again, a bit of a very low speed chicane, and then a 90-degree ascending, accelerating right-hand corner onto the back straightaway. Again, we look back at this fight for 9th and 10th, 11th position, who is NFL Racer, is way off of this duo right now, not even close to them, about 6.5, nearly 7 seconds out from this pair at the moment. Lud1cr0us Speed, after that lap 1 instant, has recovered up to the 8th position. Rockmorrow has gone ahead and gotten by NFL Racer now, so NFL Racer also seems to be struggling. GRM Jagged, he is struggling. Also, I was wrong. I keep mixing up the drivers. Prius Killer is actually still the highest of everyone who's on that challenge run. I do need to apologize. Tire is not on the challenge run. Prius is. Rock is, NFL is. So Prius still has that advantage. I got that wrong. I do apologize. Lud1cr0us Speed trying to look ahead to 7th place, Mexican Badass. That'll be the next driver he has to worry about. And then Brett, Sunshine, and Horizon, 4th, 5th, and 6th, all kind of close to each other, but Horizon has opened up the gap on Sunshine. And Sunshine, who typically likes to make an early stop, he likes to pit as early as he possibly can. Sometimes that works for him, sometimes that doesn't. But right now, with the gap between 4th and 5th position being what it is, about 2 seconds, I don't think Sunshine pitting earlier would actually give him any significant advantage here, unless we have a yellow flag. RZX continues to run 3rd, and he can still see our leaders going at it. He is still right there. Again, if Lucky or Buffalo have another instant, have something else that hampers them, slows them down, he will be in position to capitalize. RZX, who is in his own little fight, he's missed a few races, not been able to finish a few races. He's still solidly in the top 10 in the championship. Would love to get another podium, but honestly, I think he could be considering win. This is the first time all season long we have, since Bathurst, I shouldn't say all season long, but basically since Bathurst, that we have seen someone on the level of Scored Buffalo and Lucky, basically from the word go. Yes, RZX has been helped a little bit by the fact that this duo got into it in the first few laps of this race. But he is still by far the closest to this duo. As we ride on board with Scored Buffalo, lap 11 or so, typically when these two drivers are fighting from lap 1 of a race, this is about the time in the event where Buffalo gets by Lucky. It has not happened yet though, but you can see that the Bentley is struggling and the BMW is having no such issues. Look at that Bentley sliding wide as they go through turn 3 on the run into turn 4. Buffalo lunges close under braking, but then fades back under acceleration out. And thus far, the fastest lap of the day has gone to Scored Buffalo. RZX has fallen to about a second out at this stage in the event.
Tire runs 10th, Rock 11th, NFL Racer 12th, Prius is still 8th. As they go through the Mickey Mouse chicanes. Buffalo actually a little bit slower out of that chicane than Lucky is. He's a little bit quicker in the final corner, but not by a massive amount. And Lucky absolutely opens up the gap on Buffalo out of the final corner on the run down to turn 1. But watch the gap close back down under braking here. Man, it closes so much, it's like there was nothing there. Lucky is trying to utilize every inch of the circuit possible. I'm gonna be honest, looking at these two, it seems like Buffalo has just a way smoother car here than what Lucky does. The question is just gonna be, Lucky needs to make his mistakes either minimal, or he needs to have a mistake that compromises Buffalo just as much as it compromises himself. Anything else is going to give this win away. All right, this is here near the back of the field. TFB Matter runs behind GRM Jagged. Jagged is in the Dodge Viper, and he is doing that spec tuning challenge, or stock tuning challenge. Not going the greatest for him, but he is running 13th. And the number of points he could bring home would be massive. Later in the event, once the fight for a lead has kind of properly settled down, we'll take a look at what the actual points would end up shaking out for those three drivers in today's event. But you could definitely be looking at some gigantic changes. Ludicrous speed now gets by Mexican Badass, so Ludicrous is now the highest repeat manufacturer in the field. Mexican Badass has actually slid a little bit wide, and now this is going to leave him up to threat from Prius Killer. Fight for 7th, 8th, and 9th has kind of opened up. And you also have this here, 10th and 11th. Rockmorrow is in 10th with Tire Barrier just ahead of him. Again, Tires ran a lot of races this season, but he keeps jumping cars, so his points get outside of races that he's done challenge runs in, his points get reset. So what's happened in that scenario is that Tire is basically dead last in the championship because he just keeps swapping cars week to week. He has no forward momentum when it comes to points. All right, here's this fight for 8th. Prius looking at Mexican Badass, who has had another bit of a hiccup there. And again, once again, I want to look at this fight for 1st and 2nd. is the closest it's been between these two for a while. Buffalo looking to the inside and now backs out of it under braking, but Lucky took the bait. He defended and compromised his run through the corner. Buffalo gets right there behind him. And now RZX has fallen off far enough that Buffalo can put some real pressure on Lucky and doesn't have to worry about losing a position. These two got into it in the first few laps of this event and backed the two of them up to the rest of the field, but now their natural pace has let them pull away once again. A quarter of a second, and Buffalo's going to close even more under braking here. Lucky may have hurt his momentum in turn 1. He'll shoot out of turn 2, now into turn 3. Oh my goodness, Buffalo closes in so much. He's caught in the arrow wash of Lucky, but we know that that BMW has so much ability to conserve its tires that that won't really come into play in any way. Buffalo looking to the extreme outside of Lucky. Lucky putting up a bit of a defense. Buffalo looks to the outside, but most of these corners, not all, but most of these corners are single lane. You get run, if for some reason you're put on the unideal line through a lot of these corners, you're just going to hemorrhage time. It was one of those reasons why that moment we did see Lucky and Scored going side by side for a while was honestly so impressive. Because typically just staying side by side at all is borderline impossible for more than a corner at this circuit. You can do it a little bit in turn 4, and you can definitely do it in turn 3 to an extent. But outside of those two, most of these corners are really single lane, partially because of how narrow the track is, but also just because of the way the circuit is laid out. That there's only one ideal groove through a lot of the corners here. Sunshine is falling away from TNR Horizon and into the grasp of RZM Brett once again. But look at this here. I really want to focus on this little fight. It's not developed yet, but as we ride on board with Prius Killer, Ludicrous and Mexican Badass have not pulled away. I want to make sure. Are we sure that Prius is running that challenge? Yeah, Prius is definitely running the challenge. So unless there is some sort of hiccup, unless there is a mistake, and he is pulled out and he is not running the challenge, Prius is having a fantastic drive today. Bass gets a little bit sideways out of the final corner that time. Accelerates immediately down the straightaway away from Prius. I'll have to ask later. I would hate to be wrong and turn out that Prius is not doing the challenge and my information is outdated. But I do believe Prius is running a challenge that should be seeing him on a massive disadvantage, and yet he is legitimately in contention for what could be a top 8 position. Mind you, Prius is within about 2.5 seconds of Ludicrous Speed, who is 7th as well. But our focus continues to be at the top of the field. We have stayed green all day today. There was a bit of an issue lap 1 that saw the likes of Shredder and Ludicrous fall to the rear of the grid. But one of them has not been able to recover, but that was due to a pit stop. One of them is recovering. There's also been an incident in the first about 6 laps of the event where Scored Buffalo under braking got into Lucky, turned him sideways, Scored stopped on the circuit to make sure that Lucky could get going. Did not take advantage of that, but that did bunch up the top 5 for a bit. Well, any result from that has kind of gone nowhere. NFL Racer now gets by tire barrier for 10th and 11th. Again, those two drivers are in that little challenge. No, Tire is not. It is Rock who is. Yeah, Tire is not. So NFL Racer having a bit of a strong run today. Well, strong run considering the car he is in. All right, under braking again. Scored Buffalo closes right in to Lucky. A little bit sideways from the BMW out of turn 1. This time it looks like that BMW may have compromised his entrance a bit. Here he comes. He's got a run to the inside as they come out of turn number 3. A little bit of contact. He basically licked the snake that was on Lucky's right rear corner panel, but did not stick with it. Was not able to hold side by side with Lucky into turn 4. Buffalo looks to the outside in 5. Question now is going to end up being, when do these two drivers end up making their pit stop? If it happens on the same lap, we're likely not going to see too much of a change between this duo. But if they pit on different laps, Buffalo is about a tenth a second a lap faster in dirty air. In clean air, he may be even better than that. So there's a possibility that this race win may not be done properly on track, but in pits between the in-lap and out-lap section. To the top of the hill in Sector 3, and now you run down to the Mickey Mouse chicanes. Lucky had a fantastic run out of the chicanes that time and really opened the gap against Buffalo. So Buffalo's strongest suit seems to basically be turn 3 all the way until the Mickey Mouse chicanes, and then Lucky is stronger from the Mickey Mouse chicanes all the way down into about turn 4. Once you get into turn 4, that Bentley starts falling off. Gap's actually opened up a bit between this duo. All right, here's a fight at the back of the field. Shredder, who is in 14th position. Jagged, trying to hold position as well. Again, Jagged is in a car that has no tuning work done. And Shredder, he's going to intentionally slow himself down. He'll cut the circuit, but intentionally lets off to slow himself down, so he doesn't gain any advantage in that. And Rock has dropped out. Oh, Rockmorrow dropping out of the race. Horrible news for him. And with Rock out of the race, we now only have 2 drivers left fighting for those bonus points. That would be Prius Killer, who is still in the top 10, and GRM Jagged, who is running 13th right now. Oh, Shredder's got a big run on Jagged this time. And it looks like he's got by as we go to the drone camera. Shredder has made a position. But again, Shredder is running what is anticipated to be a 2-stop strategy. So for Shredder, it's looking like nothing good is coming for him at all, honestly. All right, back to this fight at the lead, looking at Buffalo as once again he closes so much under braking. My goodness! The amount that he closes, he just sucks right up to the rear of Lucky under braking. And then both, I honestly think the Bentley and the BMW are even through 1, 2, and 3. It all just comes down to who makes a bit of a mistake. Lucky is going to have it. Oh my goodness, the BMW is going to try and go on the outside. He tried to make the outside stick, could not do it. He backs out of it. Lucky again accelerates him into turn 5. Lucky's made a mistake. Oh my goodness, did Lucky make a mistake? Is this it? Is this the run? It's going to be a drag race now. Under braking, Lucky outside, scored inside. No, a little bit of contact, but Lucky will out-accelerate him. But now under braking, Squid will close right back in to the snakes on the rear of that Bentley. He actually backed out. I thought that fight would go a lot longer, but no, he backed out. Shredder has gotten by TFB Matter as well, so Shredder now moves up into the 12th position. We're not yet halfway through this event. Tire life still going to be a bit of an issue. Not an unbearable one, but a bit of a concern. But anyone who is not pitted yet, I don't think anyone's pitted yet, actually. Let me see here. Yeah, Sunshine's not pitted yet, and typically he's the one who pits early, but he is not pitted yet. So outside of Shredder, who is on a 2-stop strategy, no one has made their pit stop yet. Buffalo, 64% wear in the front tires. What about Lucky, who is leading? 70%! Oh my goodness! So tire life is an issue for our top 2. Again, more for Lucky than Buffalo, but this could be a deciding impact in this event. Buffalo could intentionally stay out an extra lap, maybe even 2 laps compared to Lucky, just so he knows that he will have better rubber to the end of this race. With the way that Lucky's rubber has been falling off, I think he is basically guaranteed he has to pit either this lap or the next one. His tires will not last beyond that point. Someone is on pit lane right now. Who is that? That would be Prius Killer. And Prius Killer is actually going to pit a little bit earlier than the drivers he has been fighting. Again, we look at the front. The run in and out of pit lane is going to be so incredibly important. It won't single-handedly decide the race. Buffalo absolutely has what it takes to potentially make an overtake somewhere else. He just needs Lucky to make a mistake. Under braking, once again, Buffalo looked to the outside, now cuts in, but ends up wheel hopping that left rear over the inside curb. It kind of killed his momentum out of the corner, so they stay nose to tail. Into the Mickey Mouse chicanes once again. Lucky stays out another lap. Oh, but Buffalo's pitting now. Well, I did not anticipate that, but this is it. This is where everything gets interesting. Here's something else to consider. If Scored Buffalo ends up trapped behind another car after his pitting, and he spends a lot of time dealing with traffic, that could end up hurting him and working in Lucky's favor. That also can go the other way, though. Horizon is going to go by. Here goes Sunshine. Sunshine will clear Buffalo without issue. What about Brett, who is coming down the front straightaway now? Is Brett going to get by? Yes, Brett also gets by. What about Ludicrous Speed, who is currently 7th? If Ludicrous gets by, that could really have a big knock-on effect. As Buffalo now coming out of pit lane, he is going to be behind Ludicrous Speed. And we switched it to time behind leader right now on the ticker at the top of the screen. Keep an eye on Buffalo. Okay, of course, the game's not actually going to tell us. Congratulations, game. Why are you so crap at this sometimes? How long does Lucky stay out? Again, Lucky, if he's able to make it an extra lap or two, he will have a bit of a tire benefit and could be in a little bit more even position with Buffalo. The counterpoint, though, is that track position is so incredibly important right now. And Buffalo has not caught up to Ludicrous Speed at the rate that we were anticipating. I imagine that Buffalo is going to immediately suck right up to the back of Ludicrous's machine, but that has not happened. This gap between 6th and 7th right now is big enough that if Lucky pits, he would easily end up right in the middle of the gap. Lucky has stayed out another circuit, and now Buffalo is closing on the GT of Ludicrous. Ludicrous had a great run last week at Silverstone. He said, hey, I feel real good about today. He thought that he could have gone for a podium position. Well, that's not going to happen, obviously, after the instance that happened early on. And Ludicrous is going to pit, so no, Buffalo is going to stay in clean air. He is not the only one. TNR Horizon is also pit, and Sunshine, uncharacteristically, is actually staying on circuit far longer than normal. But this is big news for Buffalo. This is 2 straight laps that he has on track, not dealing with any aero wash, not dealing with any traffic whatsoever. This is likely going to win. Oh, no, Buffalo's missed turn 1. Buffalo missed turn 1 under braking that time. Horrible time in turn 1. When will our leader make his stop? Another driver in pit lane. That is tire barrier. Another driver, that would be Matter, who he's just made a stop into pit lane. But Lucky is out in front. Oh, those tires, 82% on the left front. This could be disastrous. He may start to experience a tire failure here. 82.5, 82.6. Lucky is pressing his tires to the absolute extreme limit. And now he pits. All right, this is going to be where it comes down to. Second place, RZX U5 is also going to pit, I believe. Third place is Mr. Sunshine. Is Sunshine going to stay out, or is he going to pit? I imagine Sunshine is going to pit here, and we may have just had another driver lag out. All right, this is it. This is the run. Buffalo is coming down pit straight right now. Your leaders are still on pit lane. This is it. I hate to say it, folks, but this might be it. I think this race has already been decided. It's the run down to turn one. No, I'm wrong. Buffalo did not complete the pass. Buffalo did not complete the pass. In fact, the gap has actually opened up a bit in Lucky's favor. Not by much. It's only by about half of a second, but the gap has opened up in Lucky's favor. Lucky, in a car that is horrendous on tire life, has stretched his tires out just a little bit. He still has clean air, and now he is going to be basically even with Buffalo on tires to the end of this race. So tires is one advantage that Buffalo is going to see denied to him. I did not anticipate that happening whatsoever. Most of the field have made their stop now. The biggest exception at the moment would be SRD Shredder, but again, Shredder is anticipated to be on a two-stop strategy while everyone else is on a single stop. We have stayed green from lap 1 in today's event, and this has been the most interesting fight, like it has been for most of the season, this battle at the front. Buffalo has a bit of a lockup there at the end of the straight. And RZX, he's just outside, but he can't do anything to this duo. While Buffalo and Lucky fight, their fighting is still faster than RZX running in clean air. And coming down the front straightaway again, Buffalo, for this moment, is more than half a second out in the lead right now. And again, Lucky needs to win every race for the rest of the season. Assuming neither of these drivers go for challenges, he needs to win every race for the rest of the season in order to lock up the championship. This is honestly the widest we've seen this gap be for a while. Now, Buffalo has been faster, and I do think we'll see Buffalo close in, but for the moment, it has calmed down. We have lost the second driver. Who is the other driver we've lost? RZM Brett. We're going to try and reach out to Brett here and hear what he has to say. Bit of a lockup from Jagged there. But yeah, this fight at the front is the most active one we've had thus far today. Prius is 7th. So Prius is 7th with that dropout, and Jagged is 13th. So 13th would normally earn you 105 points. Half of that would be 52. So Jagged could walk out of here with 157.5 points. 7th earns you 135 points, but add 50% to that. That would be 62? 67 points. So 67 points, that would earn Prius potentially 202, I think. $202, yeah. So actually, if Prius finishes in 7th right now, he will earn more points than your race winner. That would be very unexpected. And if he holds that off, I think that's worth earning the Driver of the Day title. Driver in pit lane right now, I believe, is that Shredder. That is Shredder. I'll be interested to see where Shredder ends up in relation to the likes of Jagged and Matter. It looks like he's going to hold position over them. All right, so at the stage in the event, we're about 17 laps to go, and Buffalo has closed back in behind LuckyVII. Down the front stretch once again now. Again, this has been the most active battle of the day today. And it's not like it's just been this nose-to-tail stalking fight throughout. We have seen Buffalo get into Lucky, actually turn Lucky at one point, and both drivers came to a brief stop just to make sure that neither side got an unfair advantage in the fray. Oh, Buffalo locks up the rear tires there. We've seen Buffalo get alongside Lucky on at least 2 occasions, and then he's gotten to his left front bumper to Lucky's right rear on at least 2 other occasions as well. This has not been a walkaway. This has not been anything short of incredibly difficult. And Buffalo is in a car that, without a doubt, is better than Lucky's here. But Lucky is pressing every little thing he can. He is minimizing his disadvantages and putting on an absolutely incredible performance today. One other thing I forgot to mention real quickly. Oh my goodness, here comes the move potentially? No. NFL Racer right now is in 9th. So if he holds on to his position, NFL Racer would normally earn 125 points, but half of that would be 67. So he would walk out here with 192 points, roughly. So he would be earning more points in 2nd place if he keeps that together. Yeah, that 50% increase, it has a really, really massive effect. If you finished 10th, for instance, but you had that challenge on, you would earn the same number of points as your 2nd place finisher here. So, yeah, those 3 drivers who are going for those challenges, big, big impact. So yeah, Rock is not in for those challenges. It is NFL Racer, Prius, and Jagged. And all 3 of them are, especially with 2 other drivers having dropped out, even for Jagged, who is without a doubt probably going to finish dead last, he is still going to walk out here with a great haul of points today. So yeah, that challenge is definitely worth it if you want to have one race to really salvage events here. Now their finishing positions haven't been locked up yet, but it definitely is something interesting to keep an eye on. All right, out of the final corner, again, as they come down to the line. It's 15 laps to go. When these 2 dueled at Watkins Glen, it was before we even got 15 laps into that race, and Buffalo took the lead and scooted away. At Road America, it was basically in Lucky's hands, partially because Buffalo was not able to finish the event. At Laguna Seca, it went to Buffalo in Buffalo's favors about 15 laps into that race as well, but to Lucky's credit, he kept it honest until after the round of pit stops. Once pit stops were over, the gap opened up pretty decisively. At Suzuka, it was similar to this, but in that case, Buffalo had actually fallen to third, nearly fourth at one point, and actually had to spend a lot of time fighting other drivers. So while he caught Lucky late in the event, he just did not have time to actually do anything to him. And then last week at Silverstone, Lucky pulled away in the rain, and when the track was properly dry in the last 5 laps, Buffalo was more than about a second a lap faster, but the gap had opened up so much that it didn't matter. This is the first time we have seen these two properly nose to tail fighting all day long. And Lucky maintaining the advantage throughout. Lucky actually has the fastest lap of the day at this point in the event. 14 laps to go. Buffalo is right there behind the Bentley. Oh my goodness, this could be it though. He's there. He is there. He is pushing. He is pushing. They are both going to wash a little wide, but Buffalo ends up washing even wider. Buffalo had the run, ran right into the back of Lucky twice in the corner, but Lucky kept the car under him, and Buffalo did not. Oh, Lucky missed the corner, and Buffalo dives to the inside. They're side by side, but Lucky will accelerate out and hold the position. Bad news for this duo, though. They are coming up on lapped traffic. And Jagged, the next car, he is in one of those spec machines. He has no tuning done on that car whatsoever. So it's going to be a little bit hard to figure out what the best area to get by him is going to be at. And just ahead of Jagged a little bit is going to be Matter. Oh, Lucky didn't have the greatest run to that corner, but he'll have a good run out. Oh, Jagged not having a good time in that feint at all. All right, accelerating out. And now down to the Mickey Mouse chicanes. This is typically a portion of the circuit where Lucky's very good, but now he's going to be held up by lap traffic. Jagged is all in front of him. He is going to block both of them very problematically. Jagged swings to the inside, and Lucky finally gets to pull away, but he's not going to be able to pull away as much as he normally has. Buffalo is closer now than he has been several times going down the straight. Buffalo could make a dive into turn 1. This could be the position for him. He'll have to really go for it. He misses. He misses the braking zone. Oh my goodness, did he miss the braking zone badly? Buffalo lunged and missed. He's going to lose a huge chunk of time to Lucky instead. And Jagged actually got back side by side with Buffalo for a moment there. Now Buffalo's taken second back without issue, but Buffalo went for the move and he just overtaxed the car and lost it, and the gap's now going to massively open in Lucky's favor. Did not anticipate that happening. And in a situation where it looked like Lucky was going to be the one at a bigger disadvantage, it ended up being Buffalo who took the fallout from that, which was in his favor, and just pushed it too far. And now it's swapped. Now the advantage is back in Lucky's favor with about 12.5 laps to go here at Circuit de Catalunya. Coming up to the top of the hill once again. Top of one of the hills once again. Realistically, you can kind of split the backside of the circuit into 3 different hills. But either way, out of the backstretch and now up to the top of the field, up to the top of the hill, TFB Matter is the next driver that this duo is going to catch. Accelerating down the front straight. 8/10 is the gap. Now, through the Sector 2, we know that Buffalo will have the ability to close in. But I think the bigger concern right now is that Matter is about to be caught by Lucky. And the Bentley that Matter is in has similar strengths to Lucky's Aston. They're both straight line monsters. Oh my goodness, Buffalo, all sorts of sideways coming up to the top of the hill that time. Lucky really needs Matter to be nice and play nice with him, let him by without issue, and that's exactly what looks like it's going to happen. Yes, Lucky had to compromise his line a bit in the straight, but Matter is not going to push the issue, and now Buffalo is actually going to be held up by Matter a bit as they come up to the top. Still held up by Matter. He's going to be side by side with Matter as he come into the Mickey Mouse chicanes. And now they both accelerate down the front straightaway. 11 laps to go. Pretty much every other battle on the circuit has solidified itself. Of note, 11th right now is Shredder. He is the last driver on the lead lap, and he is trying to run down Tire Barrier, who is in 10th. Now, I don't know how likely it is that's going to happen, but Shredder on that two-stop strategy, horrendous time for him. But even if he wasn't on the two-stop strategy, Shredder, I don't think would even be in the top 7, frankly. NFL Racer still 9th, despite running that challenge. Same with same with Prius Killer, who is still 7th. Again, I'm gonna have to check. I will ask post-event just to make sure I'm not wrong, but there is a very high likelihood that if I'm right and Prius really is not in a tuned car, he is in the fresh from the factory challenge, that he's gonna walk home with a gigantic horde of points today. Right on board Buffalo. To the top of the Sector 3 hill, and now they dive into the Mickey Mouse corners. That's 3rd place RZX U5, who is being held up by the likes of Jagged, and soon after that will be Matter as well that he's held up by. RZX has been the closest thing to real competition that our leaders have had for a good chunk of the day today. And look at this, on a straightaway, RZX is just barely going to be able to out-accelerate that Viper into turn 1. Scored Buffalo. For all intents and purposes, it looked like he had the championship locked up after Laguna-Seca. At that point, again, he had missed out at the Road America race. He was not able to finish that event, but he, off the back of bonus points, he basically neutralized a good chunk of the points lost in that event. And now, after they left Laguna Seca, he had a significant advantage over the rest of the field. But for the last 2 races, Lucky has closed the gap down by roughly 20 points a race. Now, today, Lucky might be able to close it by another 20. They'll be coming to the line, 9 laps to go. If they finish in this order, Lucky will continue to close the championship gap down. Again, pretty much every other battle on track has long been settled. I do want to go ahead and look at the tire wear for our top two. We know that that Bentley that Lucky is in goes through tires faster, but Lucky stayed on his first set for 2 laps longer. So 46.5 for the left front for scored. For Lucky, who is your leader right now, is 42.5. So Lucky still has the tire life advantage at this stage of the event. It also should be noticed, though, that Lucky was hit by Scored early on. Again, not intentional. We know it wasn't intentional. We know both these drivers respect each other very much. But the two of them hit each other. Buffalo ran to the back of Lucky, turned Lucky sideways. So Lucky sideways, that also would have hurt a little bit when it comes to his tire's life at span as well. But Lucky having a tire life advantage over Scored is something we do not see very often. But Buffalo has closed back in on Lucky. He is there once again. The fight is back underway. It's 8 laps to go. Gaps opened up just a small amount in Lucky's favor. But you can see visibly how good Buffalo is under braking and basically from corner entry, mid-corner, corner exit, depending on the type of corner, he also is better there as well. Oh, wow, Buffalo actually absolutely lunged in turn 4, but that's going to hurt him. He's actually going to lose time. It looks to me that Buffalo's just kind of throwing everything at the wall, seeing if he can make anything stick. To his credit, even what's not sticking, it's not hurting him that bad. He immediately closes, well, not immediately, but he very quickly closes right back to the rear of Lucky's machine. A little bit closer this time. Is he going to make a dive at the end of the straight? No, he holds the outside normally. Cuts really tight on corner exit to try and make a bid to the inside of Lucky, but can't make it stick. But Lucky wheel hopped the inside curb going uphill and let Buffalo close right back in. All right, now through the Mickey Mouse chicane. Lucky's machine's been a little bit stronger than Scored's through here. Buffalo's closer, though. Buffalo is closer this time than he was before. 7 laps to go. Lucky opening the gap, but Buffalo may be close enough. If he wants, he could try and make a dive into the corner. He will not. Into turn 3. Buffalo seems to be struggling just a little bit. And Lucky actually opens the gap. Riding out the back of Lucky's machine here. Oh, a bit of a lockup. This might be it. They're side by side on the acceleration uphill. A little bit of contact. Buffalo falls back behind. But Lucky made a mistake, and Buffalo lunged, and he was side by side with him coming out of the corner. It is not over yet. And while Lucky has led the most laps of this race, it is still possible that he could lose this because Buffalo is still strong and still challenging. 6 laps to go now as they cross the line. I don't think they're going to catch SRD Shredder or Tire Barrier to put them a lap down before this is over. Buffalo has set the best lap thus far today, 145.8 in race conditions. Both drivers did not have a good run into turn 5 that time. Desperation and exhaustion is definitely going to be kicking in for both of this pair. Oh, here it comes again. But this time, Lucky intentionally arced the corner in a way that, sure, Buffalo was there briefly on his inside, but Lucky had a good run out. So nothing really gained. There'll be 5 laps to go when they get to the line. There are no other battles on track. Everyone is basically settled in to their position. But it should be noted that Shredder is slowly closing on Tire Barrier for the 10th position. That will be the yellow and green dot that is on the map that is currently going into turns 1 and 2 now. This duo, the lead fight, is not anticipated to impact that fight, but keep an eye on that. That BMW closes so aggressively. Under braking, he's got a great run out turn 2 this time. He's coming to the outside. Oh my goodness, he is coming to the outside. He has got to run. They are side by side. It is a drag race for the position, but Buffalo is going to hold it in side by side around the outside against Lucky. He's got the nose ahead. Lucky can't seem to make it stick. Is this the move? Has Buffalo been saving all day for this move? Now they come in turn number 5. Buffalo has the inside. Lucky has the outside. Is this it? Is this going to give Buffalo the win? It's a run down now. Oh, Lucky's got his nose ahead, but just barely. Side by side to the next corner. Buffalo's got it. Buffalo's got him. Buffalo has the position. Buffalo now is ahead of Lucky. Lucky gets right onto the rear bumper of the BMW. The BMW slides sideways. He's wide. Lucky is now on his inside. Lucky is there. He has to make the move, and he needs to make the move fast. Buffalo was all sideways under braking. Lucky can't capitalize. All of a sudden, the terms have changed. Straight away, and this is where Lucky is at his strongest. Already the gap is closing back down. Buffalo defends the inside. Lucky is going to go on the outside. It is a drag race. They are side by side. Lucky has the car ahead, but Buffalo's been able to go deeper under braking. Contact! They're both sideways. They're still side by side through 2, now into 3, but Lucky is on the outside, a portion of the circuit that he's not typically good at. Buffalo gets a position, Lucky trying to set up for the crossover. Buffalo defends the inside, Lucky outside. Buffalo slides a little bit wide. Lucky now comes to the inside. He's got to run, but Buffalo will have the ideal line going into turn 5 this time. Lock up from the BMW. Lucky is squeezed to the outside. Lucky's got the car ahead. Under braking, scored is all sideways. And now Lucky has the inside line advantage coming up to the next corner. Buffalo outside, Lucky inside. A little bit of contact between the two. Buffalo defends incredibly aggressive on the inside. Lucky's going to hold the outside. Side by side again as they go through the next corner. Uphill. They're still side by side. Buffalo is trapped on the outside, which is not the ideal line. Lucky has the inside. Run down. Contact. They make huge contact with each other. Lucky has the car ahead. Now through the Mickey Mouse section. Buffalo is sliding the car incredibly aggressive, and Lucky's got the position back. Buffalo could not control the car through the Mickey Mouse corners. Lucky has the position back. Now they come onto the front stretch again. Coming down, it will be 3 laps to go at the line. Buffalo got by him. We know now that Buffalo can get by Lucky, but Lucky has the position back. Under braking. No move this time. But we now know that Buffalo can make it stick around the outside and make the overtake happen through turns 3 and 4. This is horrible news. Horrible news for Lucky, because there's no way for him to defend in that sort of scenario. The gap is still a little bit open. Buffalo outside, Lucky inside. Now Buffalo falls in line. Lucky steps a little bit wide, has a nice wide exit out of turn 4 on the run down to turn 5. He still has it. Oh my goodness, Buffalo locked up the tires, went for a huge dive. They're side by side out of this corner as well, but Lucky will use his acceleration and peel away from the BMW. Also, that fight has activated for those positions of 9th and 10th. The only reason we're not following it right now is because this is the fight for the win. Buffalo losing a little bit of ground on Lucky per usual in the straight, but he has closed on a few occasions humongously coming out of this back straightaway. Not going to happen this time by. Tire life is going to be an issue. We know that, but how much? Lucky is in the 66.7% on his left front. For Buffalo is 69.9, so Lucky still has a tire advantage somehow. All right, coming on to the front stretch real quickly, I want to look at this fight here for 10th position, even if it's only briefly. Shredder coming to the outside of tire barrier. They are side by side for position as they go into turn number 1. Shredder runs a little bit wide. Tire holds the position. Shredder has a good run, though. But it looks like for now, Tire has that spot. Meanwhile, fight for the win. It is 2 laps to go. Buffalo got by him. He was not only by him, he led for an entire lap, almost 2 laps in a row. He gets into Lucky again. He throws the car into turn 4, gets Lucky a little bit sideways, but Lucky still holds the position. Buffalo is absolutely throwing everything he's got at Lucky. What he needs to do if he wants to win, Buffalo needs to get that, once again, that real perfect run on the outside in turns 3 and 4. If he can make that turn 3, turn 4 outside line overtake stick, he will have him, because Lucky won't be able to outrun the BMW by the time they get to the start-finish line. Back straightaway again. And it still seems that Lucky has the advantage. RZX is 11 seconds behind this fight. He will not factor in whatsoever unless both of these drivers run their cars completely off circuit. We have not seen this duo. Well, no, we did at Suzuka. But at Suzuka, Lucky had it not comfortably, but reasonably under control to the end. It is not that way now. Both drivers are tired. Both drivers are weak, but their tires are screaming. They're coming out of the final corner. It is going to be the white flag in the air. Buffalo is right behind Lucky. This is the closest he has been coming onto the front straightaway. And while we know Lucky can accelerate in a straight line, Buffalo is going to neutralize all this acceleration in a straight line, diving into turn 1. Buffalo immediately setting up. He's going to try. I can't imagine Buffalo not trying to make the double overtake on the outside once again. He made it work about a handful of laps ago. He needs to try it again, but he's not close enough this time. He is closing, but he's not close enough. He's still behind Lucky. Run down into turn number 4. Buffalo on the outside. Lucky inside. This is it. This is the move. Buffalo went for it, but he may have taken too much momentum into the corner. He can't stay side by side with Lucky as they come out of 4. Now they go into turn 5. Lucky is a little bit wide. Buffalo dives. He locks up the brakes and dives in. They're side by side again on the white flag, but Lucky will accelerate quickly. Oh, Lucky left the inside line just a little bit open. Buffalo got right on him, made a little bit of contact with Lucky's rear end. You can see Shredder is fighting there for the 10th spot farther up, and we will change real quickly to that fight for 10th on this last lap, but once the leaders cross the line. But look at this. This is incredible. Lucky is fighting for his life. He is fighting for a championship. He's left the inside line open. The BMW lunges, and it gets shut right on his nose into the Mickey Mouse chicanes for the final time. Lucky is going to try and go from pole to win. Buffalo looks to the inside but can't make it stick. Coming down, one more corner left. Buffalo had a great run out. Final corner. Lucky needs to not make a mistake, and he'll be able to close by another vital 20 championship points. And Lucky's going to do it. He's going to go back to back to back victories here in the IESC GT Championship. I know the game says otherwise, but no, Buffalo did not win that race. That win goes without a doubt to Lucky. And now look at this fight here, as we see this fight for 10th, as everyone else is pretty much locked up. But look at this, Tire on the inside, Shredder on the outside. Tire is in a car that has no tuning on it. No, Tire is on a car that has tuning on it. Shredder is trying to recover from having to make an extra pit stop, basically. The BMW holding on the outside, the Lamborghini washes wide. It's gonna hurt both of their momentums. Now here they come, up to the into turn 5. Shredder has the inside line advantage. Tire is on the outside. He should be able to accelerate out. Shredder has a bit of a lockup from the Tire, a bit of a wheel spin, but no, Shredder has the position. Oh, and Mexican Badass ahead. He's had a mistake. Mexican Badass is falling back. This could fall into a three-way fight if Badass has another mistake. They're still side by side, and Badass is sideways again. Badass has lost it. Badass may have blown a tire. This is now a fight for the 9th position. Tire barrier on the outside, Shredder on the inside. Under braking, who's it gonna be? Who dives deeper? They both lock up just a little bit. Tire's got a run coming out. Shredder is absolutely lighting the rubbers up. It's killing his momentum. They both make contact. Shredder is stuck on the outside line. The Lamborghini is gonna have the position. All right, and now Shredder goes into the dirt. That's likely going to be it, unless Tire has a mistake. Shredder is going to close right back into the Lamborghini here, going through the Mickey Mouse curves. It will be a top 10 for both of them off the back of Mexican Badass not be able to maintain his position after blowing his tires in the last few laps. No, it's not. Shredder's got the position. Shredder's coming. He's coming to the inside, side by side to the line. Who's it going to be? It might have been Shredder. The camera did not keep up properly, but if it was Shredder, it would have been by the smallest of margins. '11th will go to Mexican Badass. 12th will be TFB Matter. 13th will be GRM Jagged. But your winner is going to be LuckyVII FM. 3 wins in a row here in the IESC GT Championship. He is chewing away at the points lead that scored Buffalo had. Alright. Trying to get some of our finishers into the party here.
Jesus Christ.
Alright.
I am shaking.
Everyone go ahead and make sure you can include your audio here. I'm going to go ahead and start off here with our 3rd place finisher, RZX U5AMVP. RZX, please go ahead and include your audio. 3rd place finish for you here at Circuit de Catalunya. You seem to be the only person who might have had something for our race winners. What do you have to say about that run today?
I say it was. I just wish I was more consistent, like I put in the Discord. There was times I found pace with them, and then there was just times I completely fell off a cliff. So it's like if I could have just been more consistent, I probably had something. But I'm glad about my performance. This is probably one of my stronger tracks. That's why I was able to Be as competitive as I was today.
All right, third place. Absolutely fantastic drive out there, mate. About a quarter of the season left. What are your anticipations for yourself throughout the rest of the year?
I might not make a majority of the rest of the season. I'm getting ready to move here in like 2 weeks. So.
Oh, that would be a shame. Well, maybe moving will be a good change in things for your life, though, so we'll definitely be looking forward to that.
Indeed.
Either way, great performance out there. We'd love to see what else you can do going forward. I'm really trying to reach out to both of our winners here, but I've not had any luck getting Scored Buffalo into the party. But I will go ahead and talk with our race winner, LuckyVII FM. Lucky, go ahead and include your audio. For the first half of the season, you and Buffalo were trading wins back and forth. Neither of you could really go back-to-back on victories. Now things have changed. You have gone 3 races in a row with wins. You have closed the championship gap down again. What do you have to say about that incredible fight you had to the end of that race?
It was a great fight the whole race. I mean, Scored really put the pressure on me that any mistake I had was he could exploit because his car is just so much better through braking and handling. But I was lucky that this track had enough acceleration zones that I could negate all those where he was better, especially like on the backstretch. That was the only reason that I was able to get back to his side, was just how much better I was under mid-range acceleration. But I mean,
Right.
42 laps of constantly looking behind me and having to defend let me tell you, that's the pressure, man. So I had to put my best foot forward to beat him today.
All right, I want to go back to the midpoint of the race. Green flag pit stops. Buffalo pits. You pit 2 laps later, and you're in the Bentley, which historically across the season is worse on tires. I was looking at your tire life. You were at like 83% wear on your left front. Yet you actually added to your advantage over him by the time that was done. How in the world did you make that happen? Because he was in clean air. It's not like he was held up by other people. He was in clean air for those 2 laps, and you still opened the gap on him. How in the world did you do that?
I guess his outlap wasn't good, or as good as like my in-lap or something. But I mean, I knew I had to get to lap 22 to make it on my tires, and he put in a chat as he was in the pits that he was only at 66%. So he pit early, probably try to get the undercut on me to get in front of me. So it worked in my favor that I was able to stay in front of him at least.
All right. Great drive out there, mate. Great performance, making the championship fight interesting as we head to the last third of the season. Thanks for jumping in and talking with us. I want to talk with our second place finisher, Scored Buffalo. Scored, honestly, if you walked out of here with today's race, that would have been just as incredible. For the first time pretty much this entire season, you had a fantastic start. Like, a lot of part of the season, Buffalo, people have been like, well, me at least, I've been like, he's a little bit weak on starts, but as the race goes on, he's good. Fantastic, perfect start from you. And then that overtake, you held the outside throughout all of turn 3, all of turn 4, and had that position. Held it for a lap and a half. Include your audio, Buffalo. Incredible drive from you. Doesn't matter how you look at it. What do you have to say about your run today?
It was pretty good. I didn't expect the car to feel this fast. I'm a little bit mad that any move I did was not enough. But I mean, it is what it is. It was honestly, I did not expect going into today. I did not expect us to be fighting for literally the whole race. But it was definitely pretty fun. But I had the pace, but lucky to have the better race car. So I couldn't do anything. It's still fun though.
Fun indeed, without a doubt. You still have the lead in the championship, but for the third race in a row, we see it declining. There's still 4 races left in the season. Can you turn these tides back in your favor?
Maybe. I mean, I know Nürburgring is a really strong acceleration track, so I'm assuming the Bentlay's going to have the better edge there, along with anything else that has better acceleration than the M6. What else is there? Monza, I know I'll be able to at least do good at. And Hockenheim, I think I could just write that one off. I despise Hockenheim. But I like Spa, though, so we'll see. Maybe the championship will go down to Spa. Who knows?
Well, with the way it's going right now, it looks like that could be the case. But either way, one way or another, I know this was second place finish, but that was probably one of the most impressive second place finishes I've ever seen. Mate, that move was like move of the race stuff right there. I would give you driver of the day if you made that stick, but obviously it didn't work out in the end. I have to give driver of the day. I want to make sure I'm right here. Prius, if you're in the party, go ahead, make sure your audio is included. Prius, did you set yourself to the stock tuning that you were supposed to for the event?
I was indeed on Shredder's stock tune.
Well, Prius, driver of the day performance.
Woo!
I know there's a lot of talk that goes on between what happened between Lucky and Scored at the front there, but Prius, you're going to walk out of here leaving today with more points than the race winner. Incredible performance, mate. What do you have to say about that drive today?
It was way better than I expected, and the only thing that could have gone better is if Alan's tires had fallen off more, I would have had a chance to catch him, saying that he pulled about 3-4 seconds over the 15 laps in that second stint, and then in the last 5, I pulled all that back.
Man. Well, still, 7th place in a car that had no proper setup or anything here. Incredible drive, to say the least, but now I have to ask, 4 races left in the season, what are your expectations for yourself across those remaining 4 races? You're still in the top 10 in points comfortably right now, mind you.
With that finish, it puts me 5th. Out of the next 4 races, there's only 1 I can see myself doing extremely well. The other 3 I've barely raced on, one of which I've never actually raced on in a multiplayer lobby, which is the next race in Nürburgring, and so I'm hoping I can do well. The Bentley's meant to be the best car at the Nürburgring off of Shredder's lap times, but I have no clue how I'm going to do in these next 4 races.
All right, well, definitely will be interesting to watch, but outstanding performance. You, of the 3 drivers who are doing the Fresh from the Factory Challenge, again, no tuning, but you get a 50% addition to your car. By far, you are the highest finishing of them all, so great job out there. And I know there are other drivers I still need to get to, but I want to talk to our other 2 drivers who did that challenge. NFL Racer came home in the 8th position. NFL, go ahead, include your audio. Great drive, great performance from you today. What do you have to say about your run out there?
It was interesting to say the least. I was right there in the thick of that bottleneck at turn 1, lap 1, so unfortunately got in the wrong end of that, ended up way back and was just kind of rolling around there for the longest time. Thankfully got ahead of Shredder with the his tire strategy, and just got really lucky on a couple disconnects and stuff leading up to it, and then miracle of all miracles, Mexicans' tires looked like they more or less just fell off of a cliff at the very end and was able to catch him on the last lap. So 8th place is not at all what I was expecting out of today, but I accomplished the goals that I set for myself, which was finish better than when I started, don't wreck the car, don't get lapped. So all in all, it's a good day at a track that I consider very poor for my own skill at, and we'll move on to the next race and hope to keep up that momentum.
All right, thanks for jumping in and talking with us. NFL, Jagged, if you are in the party, we will get to you real quickly. Horizon Sunshine left, and I hope I didn't piss them off by getting to them a little bit later. I want to talk with our 6th place finisher, Lud1cr0us Speed here. Ludicrous, go ahead, include your audio. Lap 1, you made a huge dive side by side for 3rd position, lap 1, turn 1, and everything seemed to go bad for you because by the end of lap 1, you're dead last on track. What happened?
I don't know if it was either lag or if he had sent it a little too hard, but I got hard contact from the rear by Brett, and the car, it's tuned to be a little bit loose in the rear just to rotate it around and get that big weight around corners. And I'm on a knife's edge on that corner especially. I don't know if you saw from the stream. I'm having to saw the wheel constantly through there. And that bump was enough to completely put me around. I overcorrected and it was into the sand pit with me.
Well, still an interesting race from you, all things considered. You did fight back from last place to come home 6th. Although apparently had a little bit of tire issue. What was the rest of your race like from your perspective in the cockpit?
It was good. I mean, I made 9 overtakes. So I don't have any complaints. As for the tires, yeah, for probably the last 3 laps of both of my runs, the tires completely burned off. But I don't think that's more of a case of range. I think that's more a case of I was just pushing at 110% the entire time, trying to make up as much ground as I could after that lap 1 incident. And then and then once I was just watching the distance with Sunshine come down, but once I did some quick math, about 3 laps to go, I was like, yeah, unless he puts it in the sand, that's it. So I backed off, and then the tires happened, and that's why Prius was able to catch up so quickly.
All right, well, still, 6th place finish after falling last place. It's a very incredible run. 4 races left in the season. After a dismal well, not dismal, you had a great performance. Shouldn't say dismal. Dismal is a little bit further back. You had a pretty good performance last week at Silverstone. Good performance here. What are your anticipation for the remaining 4 races this season?
The only one that spooks me is Monza. I'm hit and miss at Monza, but for the rest of them, just, you know, it seems to be a reoccurring theme. I get involved in some sort of lap 1 incident, so just avoid that and go from there.
All right, well, great performance out there, mate. Highest repeat car, 5 different cars in the top 5. You were the first repeat, so great job out there.
Yeah.
I want to go ahead and talk with our 9th place finisher, Tire Barrier, real quickly here. I don't think Tire was 9th. I think he may have been 10th. It was so close at the line for 9th and 10th, it's hard to tell. It looked like, I think, Shredder may have had it, but I can't tell. But Tire, Shredder, go ahead and include your audio. What was that race like from your perspectives?
It was pretty basic, you know. I didn't qualify, so I was starting at last. The first 4 turns were just chaos. I was able to get up to 8th, and I was able to stay in the top 10 at least through that. And then just towards the end of the race, you know, Trevor's all tire wear, my all tire wear led us together for the last 4 laps. And me trying to defend with all my life to try to hold that position, which I don't even know if I got it or not. I've got to go look at the tape. But I was just defending like every turn I could, just park that apex. Don't let him get a hole. We hit some dive bombs because this car I set up for the full aero, so I had really great braking in this today, and I think that saved me. And I would have stayed with Shredder when he got by me.
Now, that final lap, I was lucky enough that you guys were far enough from the rest of the field that after the win was decided, I was able to follow you guys for that last lap. I think Shredder may have got it, but if he did, it would have been by like an inch, if that.
Yeah,
so 4 races left.
My tires were just
Tire,
dead.
what are your 4 races left, Tire, in the season. What are your anticipation for yourself across the remaining third of the championship?
I mean, my rate is try not to finish, hope for a top 10 when I can. Like, I got lucky to say with a couple of DNFs and the Mexican had just lost his tire, so which also threw in a wrench in the final lap because he was just spinning in front of me and Shredder while we were side by side, and it was it's crazy. And I loved every second of it.
That was incredible. All right, thanks for talking with us. I want to talk with our 10th place finisher, SRD Shredder. Shredder, Game says 10th. I think you were 9th at the line, though. It's so hard to tell. We'll have to go back and look at the tapes, obviously. Without doubt, though, horrible day. That was just a matter of salvaging. You were the only driver who had to make 2 pit stops.
What do you have to say about your run today, Shredder?
Not a fan of Catalunya. I don't drive at all with it. I can't. I've got no pace around it at all.
Skill issue.
It really is, and that's the really annoying thing because I can't hammer out instinct. Like, I've built on this instinct for 12, 13 years, and yeah, it's not. I can't change it. It's built in, so I have to struggle with what I can do with the car, which wasn't that much over the race. I had short qualifying, and then yeah, had to pit lap 6, just because if there was a safety car later on, I could catch back up at that point, and maybe try and do something from there. But yeah, I've had to just do what I could really, and then saw I was catching tyre at the end, so I started to get on it a bit more, and then threw some attacks his way. Then spend the entire final lap too wide of him up to the final sector where the car funny moded going into the final bit, and then his tyres made him understeer like a tank out the final corner, so I shot up the inside and sprinted for the line.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have
as
to
I
go back on
got
my
on the
stream in
gas.
slow mo to see what I get.
As I got on the gas out of the chicane, I kind of, or trying to, I just had some understeer so I could turn in fully. And his car, again, his car was made to go fast in a straight line. Mine wasn't. And I was. So
I also
fun,
set
though.
the move up to go wide on the entry to cut back as much as you could, because on there you didn't have much turning, so I knew best passing place was the inside, and that's where I went.
I really couldn't have parred the apex there. You did give me a bump, but you just had more grip and the speed, and I just couldn't keep up. Or I could have, if I had just a little bit more power. I think I would have.
Definitely one of the, without a doubt, definitely one of the more interesting fights of the season. A car that is designed to be fast, but designed to be straight line fast, but built with a lot of aero to be cornering, and then a car that's built for cornering with all the aero taken out to be straight line fast. Interesting little extreme opposites between you two. Either way, very incredible fight, and in the end, you both finished top 10. So great job out there.
Like my theory was, I knew I like a car that has more grip. I figured, hey, a full aero, and I seen it even early in the race when Shredder was finding me. He only couldn't gate on me outside of the straightaway, and I'm like, okay, I can just kind of ride this and go deep in turns. And you saw how he was ahead of me, and I was able to brake a little bit later and just stay ahead and hold him off. I'm not sure how well that's going to work at Nürburgring, as it's a bit more of a balancing act than here. But we'll see.
All right, well, great job on both of you guys, 9th and 10th between you two, but the tape slayer will have to figure it out. My bet's on Shredder having it, but it could be very easy going either way.
The penalty, I think, do you see the penalty shot me up a spot? If he had me, it was like, it had to be within the 10th.
All right, I want to go ahead and talk now with our 12th place finisher, TFB Matter. Matter, not a great run, lap down in the end, but still 12th. What do you have to say about your run today?
Better than I was expecting. I think Jagged has had some issues with his car that got him to where he was, but did not have a good...
Jagged's running the no tuning challenge.
Oh, that's what he was... Okay, I didn't see that. But, yeah, I didn't figure out the start because we weren't set up correctly, and so I could have gone more spots or been in the melee or whatever. Luckily I wasn't, and then just didn't tune correctly for this race, so, and Catalunya being the worst track on the schedule, didn't do good, so we'll see how we do next week. Or not next week, but next race in 2 weeks, as we have the 6 hour for SRL for a break, but we'll see how I can do for that, for the next race.
All right, well, great performance out there, mate. Look forward to seeing what you can do for the rest of the season. 4 races left.
Thank you.
All right, we're not going to be able to get interviews with anyone else. I guess I may have pissed off Horizon and Sunshine for not getting to interview them right away, so I guess going forward, I'll make sure to get to them earlier in the event. But anyways, that will wrap up our event from Catalunya. Next week should be an off week because Sunshine Lee will be doing a 6-hour endurance at Nürburgring. So 2 weeks from now will be our next event on the calendar. I encourage you to join us then. But until next time, I've been your host, InsaneLeader13. Thank you very much for joining us for an incredible event here at Circuit de Catalunya. And stay safe, everyone. Until next time, goodbye.